In 2016, Apple took the stage and dropped the bomb. They were killing the 3.5mm jack. Phil Schiller even bragged it took courage to do it.
Well, the reason to move on really comes down to one word: courage.
But here's the kicker. It wasn't about bravery at all. In fact, that little analog plug has history. It dates back to 1878, originally designed for telephone switchboards. It's over 140 years old, and yet Apple framed removing it. Apple gave the usual three excuses: thinner phones, water resistance, and better audio. Let's debunk them. First, thinness. Apple said the jack was the obstacle to shaving off millimeters. But the reality? The first jackless iPhone, the 7, was actually thicker than its predecessor. And water protection? Many phones kept the jack and were fully waterproof. For example, Samsung's Galaxy S7 2016 sealed its headphone port with rubber and achieved full IP68 water resistance. In short, ditching the jack isn't the only way to keep water out. Finally, audio quality. Apple hinted that going digital was better. But plug in any headphone and you get lossless analog sound, whereas Bluetooth always compresses audio, even with fancy codecs. Wired connections have practically zero latency and no pairing issues. In other words, all of Apple's official reasons fall apart like a wet napkin. Now here's where it gets interesting. It wasn't about water or sound quality. What was it about? The answer is money and control. Right after removing the jack, Apple rolled out AirPods and a Lightning headphone adapter. That timing wasn't a coincidence. By nudging users toward wireless earbuds, Apple opened a new cash cow. AirPods sales exploded from near zero to billions. Apple pulled in about $18 billion from AirPods alone in 2023, more revenue than Spotify, Nintendo, or Twitter make in a year. With wired earbuds no longer free accessories, Apple turned a non-revenue hole into a profitable one. The AirPods ecosystem also locked users in. They auto-connect, show battery life on iPhones, and only play seamlessly inside Apple's ecosystem. If you leave the iPhone, your AirPods experience suffers. Even accessory makers felt the squeeze. Apple's proprietary Lightning port and made-for-iPhone licensing means anyone making Lightning headphones must use Apple's authentication chips and pay a fee. Want a USB-C headphone to work with an iPhone? You need Apple's dongle. In effect, Apple monetized even the adapter, tacking on extra cost. By 2019, the trend was clear. Samsung quietly did the same with the Galaxy Note T10. No flashy keynote announcement, and even deleted its old ads, mocking Apple for ditching the jack. Soon, almost every flagship phone followed suit. It's now a rarity to see a new top-end phone with a headphone jack. In short, removing the jack was never up courage or convenience for you. It was a calculated move to make more profit and lock users into wireless, licensed accessories. Apple told us it was for thinness and progress, but really it was just good business. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next one.